Hey guys, we're going to be doing something a little different this time. We're going to be trying a different game. I normally record Magic Online, but I thought I'd do something different with World of Warcraft. It's a game I kind of play in some spare time, so unfortunately that means I am not very competitive with it, or at least not successfully. I mean, I try to be competitive, but I don't have the time that the game does require as far as an investment goes to keep up and stay as current as possible, although I do stay current in terms of my characters and their levels and for the most part the gear. I mean, I'm not competing on the highest level, so no, I'm not going to be in the latest conquest gear or anything like that. But I am going to be featuring some PvP. Going to record a battleground with live commentary. It's just going to be a random, not going to be grouped with anybody. So it will probably be a train leg, as I am on the Alliance, and they're kind of known for being not so victorious a lot of the time, depending on your server. This server isn't as active in PvP as it used to be. I'm on Illyria, and that's why the queue on this battleground is pretty long. It seems like PvP in general is just not as popular since Warlords came out. This is 6.2, came out pretty recently, maybe just a couple weeks. So I definitely am not current. Haven't even played that much of Season 1 during 6.1, so I am going to be pretty far behind. I only have a couple of Season 2 pieces, but I did get the weapon, which is why I finally decided to record this one. I have not done this before, so I don't know how smooth this will be in terms of recording a battleground with live commentary. A lot of time when you see people running around battlegrounds, as far as their videos go, they've just kind of edited a bunch of important combat scenes together that are worth watching and just kind of played some soundtrack over it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try something that I just can't seem to find a lot of to see how it works, so I don't know if it will go well, but we're going to give it a try anyway. Given that, I know depending on the battleground I'm going to get, because it is random, I would like the bonus from it being random, and just the natures of battleground in general, I will probably have to edit and cut a lot of footage out. I don't know if I'm going to have to do that. We'll see. It'll just kind of depend on which one I get, because there's a lot of dead time. Not just when it comes to deaths, but there's a lot of dead time just kind of moving around with strategy depending on the battleground, kind of just waiting. Like if you get Alteric Valley, there's a lot of waiting a lot of the time. So hopefully we'll get something that will keep us on pace, keep us entertained. I just wanted to try to give an insight into kind of the average player that actively plays but is not very competitive, doesn't play with a large community of people that take it seriously with schedules. I just kind of play on my off time. I usually play Magic full time, so this game kind of is something to extend a different reach of my gaming appetite, and I kind of just wanted to share that. That being said, I know when it comes to this game, there are a lot of different styles, especially when it comes to the actual gameplay and the user interface. As you know, I'm not using any add-ons. I myself don't like them. I don't like my screen being a lot cluttered up. I don't like having much of the add-ons. I don't have a problem with people that do. It just doesn't work for me. So I just don't use them. Like if I do PvE there a few times, I actually will. I'll put on damage meters just because I like to compete for damage. But other than that, I don't really use add-ons. I don't raid seriously or anything, so I don't use Deadly Boss Mod. I have before in other expansions. I haven't in this one. I'm sure I would if I got back into that. But I really just PvP. And between like 4 or 5 characters I play, keeping them current on PvP is going to pretty much use all my WoW time anyway. So I don't really do PvP that much. Or PvE, excuse me, that much. Other notable things is for my combat text, I don't like my screen flooded with floating combat text. That's another thing that bothers me aesthetically. And so I just turn it off. I don't need to see the damage I'm taking float right in front of my face. A lot of the time I actually, through my peripheral, will just kind of get an idea of if I want to actually see the numbers, which a lot of the time really isn't that important. I also don't display my own health and mana numbers. And this is just, again, something aesthetically for me. When I'm in combat and I see it going down, if the numbers are blocking the green bar, a lot of time with how fast everything is moving, I'm not going to have time to look over and then register the number difference to get an idea of where my health's at. Rather, if I just see where the green bar is on the screen, that's going to give me a better indication. So that's why I do it. Again, just a personal preference. I do display healing on my other targets and damage on my targets because I want to see my nice big numbers. But not that that was big or anything. But That's pretty much all I really do with floating combat text. Obviously, a lot of the defaults are going to be the same. I'm gonna see what I'm CC'd with and its duration and all that stuff, which are changes that I think came around 5.0, which I like. I like a lot of the changes that happened in 5.0. Anyway, I am playing a Paladin, a Retribution, as you can see. Just transmog set I like. A lot of people use Hammer of the Nari, so that's not really anything unique, but I think it looks cool. I guess I'll go over my build as far as talents go. I use kind of an unconventional build, at least it seems. When it comes to at least random battlegrounds, I like this setup. I would say probably the most notable thing that I'm using that's probably just incorrect, but I like it, is Divine Purpose. Now, the obvious slot here, most people would tell you, is Holy Avenger. They're probably right because they're better than I am, but I like Divine Purpose because I like procs. I like getting free things, instant cast things. I like that. Like, a lot of my builds on my other characters will have similar setups, and it's just something I'm always attracted to. Now, during Arena, I usually do, and it just kind of depends. I play around with it. I'll switch to Holy Avenger just because it's a controlled burst, which is usually better. The overall damage output regularly from the Retribution Paladin is not very good, but if you time your controlled burst and just kind of explode, you can deal a lot of damage in a short amount of time, which is good in PvP. It's hard to heal through. But I'm not going to really find myself in that situation a lot during a battleground, so I opt for Divine Purpose. I like the procs, and sometimes it just procs a lot in a row. I even used this in 5.0. So what makes it better in this expansion, as you guys are probably familiar, is the Empowered Divine Storm. For those that might not be familiar, this is it here. So I like that they put this in general because it makes Divine Storm a little more relevant than it was. You used it for back in the day, ever since they incorporated the Holy Power, was trash pulls pretty much during PvE. Maybe if there were some ads to try to increase your DPS, but it wasn't advantageous to actually kill the target itself because you wanted to spend your Holy Power on Templar's Verdict. Now, when that procs, it doesn't consume the Holy Power, and it just gives you a free Divine Storm. So effectively, it gives you a built-in proc for an extra attack, which is just always good. But it also increases the damage on it and its range. So just a better Divine Storm, yeah. We all can get behind that, but Divine Purpose can proc off of it. So that makes Divine Purpose better, which I was using anyway, but just makes me happier, makes me look a little smarter, even though I'm probably not. And they proc off each other, in fact. So they just really work well. There's lots of procs. It is RNG, so there are going to be those bad times where nothing procs, but building Holy Power is pretty fast anyway, and the damage output can be decent. So I like it, especially for just running around battlegrounds, just getting the procs. And sometimes they just proc several times in a row. Now, that being said, since I'm using this, and especially with Empowered Divine Storm, I really opted to get Final Verdict. I was talking to some friends of mine, and they liked, I don't know if I pronounced right, Seraphim and Holy Avenger just really time your burst. That is probably better, especially for Arena. But I think for the purposes of just non-series play, just playing battlegrounds, some Arena here and there. Of course, Arena I'll probably switch to Holy Avenger again, like I said. I think Final Verdict is better. It gives your Verdict attack similar properties of your Judgment, and Judgment has probably the most interesting properties and unique properties of any attack in this game, and has been this way as long as I can remember. It doesn't really fit into the category of melee attack or spell attack. It has properties of both. Now, it's not exactly like Judgment, where Judgment can't be parried or blocked or anything like that. But it also it doesn't exactly fit all the molds of the spell either, because it doesn't have a lot of that the same mitigation properties that spells can have. So, or at least the defensive stats against some of the spells. But it does do the spell damage, so it is a damage increase. It also gains a 10-yard range, which is a lot more relevant than you would think. And obviously that second clause there, it increases the next Divine Storm by 100% in its radius. Actually, I think was that one that did radius. Okay, yeah, no, so excuse me. So Empower Divine Storm does increase radius, Final Verdict does, but it increases the damage and doesn't consume the holy power. But the good news is with Final Verdict, if you are throwing out, you're using your holy power on Final Verdicts in PvP all the time, obviously. But if Final Verdict or some other thing, usually just Final Verdict, procs your Empowered Divine Storm, that Divine Storm does the same damage as a Final Verdict. So it's just like throwing an extra down. It's just awesome. So a lot of times you can just get that amount of damage several times in a row, and that can be some pretty good damage. So that's why I chose this build. I think for the most part, the rest of what I have can be pretty standard in PvP. I mean, there's a lot of customization actually when it comes to this. Selfless Healer versus over Sacred Shield. I've had Selfless Healer. Mostly I use that in Arena. I kind of just left it on, and I found myself using it quite a bit in even Battlegrounds because the extra healing on allies is substantial and can be relevant, making the Ret Paladin a decent pocket healer, especially between that Word of Glory and Holy Prism, which is what I wanted to get to next. Holy Prism, I've used it. Well, no, actually, when 5.0 first came out, I got Execution Sentence because I just looked at the raw numbers. And if you look at the raw numbers, Execution Sentence does in fact have the bigger numbers, but I was very disappointed with it a lot. By the numbers, yes, it does more damage and healing, but the burst property of Holy Prism and its lower cooldown, being able to use it more frequently, I found to be much more relevant. And obviously, the cool the cool macro you can make, which effectively gives you 2 abilities. This is already effectively 2 abilities, but you don't want to have to take the time to retarget something to use its second ability a lot, so you can just make a macro. And the macro, basically, if I remember it right, is to target you, cast it, target previous target, or something like that. There's a couple ways you can do it. That's the way I do it. And it basically gives you a self-heal and a free AoE all in one. And that's what I have here on my X. I call it AoE Prism. So this is basically 2 abilities. And I think even if it wasn't, I would still pick it over Execution Sentence because I find its burst and lower cooldown more relevant. A lot of times you just need the abrupt amount of heal on you than waiting for the heal over time. And our battleground is up. Fingers crossed. Well, it is one of these. Unfortunately, I assume this one's not as fun to watch on a recording. But let's see what happens. These are a little longer. There's a lot more boring scenes. I'll try to just stay in the action as much as I can. I'll probably die a lot. I'll probably not kill things as well because I'm not that well geared. But we'll do our best. We do tend to win this one. We, as in the Alliance. It seems that we win this one more. Oh, that was not a very fun lag there. So I guess in terms of winning, ooh, I am lagging. Why am I lagging? Anyway, but since I've played 6.2, we actually have not had the same win percentage on this one. I think the very last one I played, we still won, but the one before that we didn't. Not sure what went wrong. But anyway, from my memory, we take docks. Usually it seems to be whoever takes docks wins. The glaives, I think, deal the most damage on the doors. Usually what I do, at least when I'm playing by myself, is I will take the catapults and go inside and use the bombs, because those deal pretty good damage too. But for this one, I'll probably just try to stay in combat, I guess. I'm not really sure. I haven't, like I said, guys, I haven't done this before. As you know, my resolution is not very high. I don't really care for resolution. I know the thing that I guess can matter sometimes is the distance, but I prefer frame rate over resolution, so I have pretty much everything low. But for the purposes of recording, like, I just get as much of the frame rate as I can. I'm usually running at like 90, high 90s frames, but with all these people and all these applications running in the background, it's not going to be as high. So I could run here in the middle into the bloodbath, get an annoying frame rate and try to kill things, but I want to live, so maybe I should go to docks. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yeah, we'll go to docks. Kind of want to stay alive. Oh geez, what is up with the frame here? Okay, well, looks like it's stabilized. I think my computer's just freaking out a bit with how much is running in the background because I've never actually recorded with Camtasia this before. Alright, this is some of the boring stuff I'm talking about. Just kind of running around, especially on a large map battleground like this. This might not be the best battleground to record, but I'm going to do it anyway. Also, it's going to take a while, so it's probably going to make this video longer, so I will probably cut things. I don't know. I'm just kind of improvising right now. Hey, look, a thing to kill. Thing to kill. So typically what I'll do is target the lower health thing or the clothy and try to kill him as fast as possible. And there's the procs I'm telling you about. It's just awesome. And yes, I use nameplates. When I'm playing a DPS, I'll use nameplates on enemies and not on allies and not on enemy pets because I don't want to target those. I don't want to see them. And you can target them by clicking their nameplates. That's something I like to do. I'll probably just do what I normally do, which is get the catapult and go over there. Numbers aren't going to be all that impressive, but, you know, that's what happens when I get behind. Okay, frame rate's getting a little better. I missed a divine, or empowered divine storm proc right there. Would have been the same output as the Templar's verdict, so that was a mistake. But I mean, in combat, you're clicking fast. You're going to miss rotation. Accuracy sometimes. I only missed the one, so I'm not that worried about it. He died. It's not like it's that game-changing if I missed it there. They actually did cap docks first. That's why it's taken so long to get these vehicles. And yeah, a lot of the time I mean, I don't know if it's good for recording purposes. I like to have my camera out to see my surroundings a little better, but I don't know, just kind of doing whatever. I like to think I represent a more common man when it comes to this game when I play here from what you see. I'm trying to keep it simple, and there they are. So, also these things are nice and fast. I like how fast they move during this little stealth thing. I'm not sure if that's a good idea because in my experience, playing Battlegrounds is all about numbers. And when I say numbers, I don't mean like your damage numbers or anything. I mean groups. It's the winning fights will usually be the ones that have larger numbers of players. So staying with groups is usually correct, like right here. It's probably correct for me to just stay here and like kind of kill guys as they come out and wait for them to knock the store down because they're doing a decent job already. But I kind of want to say I helped, so I'm gonna go over and put some bombs by the door, and hopefully I'll stay alive in the process. Usually you just have the few AFK people that are there. Did I not take it? Nope, now I took it. Okay. Yay, I'm contributing. These guys are probably just in here to get some more HKs, so. Like, even though the numbers are decently large for that, I mean, obviously getting one bomb to the gate at a time is slow. Oh, I'm tagging this pet. I want to try to make it to where Tab can't target non-players, like not their pets or anything. I don't know how to do that. If you do, please tell me, because I am completely ignorant of that. And I'm not afraid to use cooldowns like that, especially with the talent I have. I think I don't remember what it's called. Unbreakable Spirit. A lot of these just have around 2.5 minutes, and that's not that long. Like, especially in a battleground, like 2 minutes goes by really fast. Look at all that ranged. Look at that. Look at that ranged. Yeah, it's not that impressive, I know. But you know, it's enough to keel things. Oh, look, the gate's already open. We should have this. This should be a wrap. Like, this game should be over. This one's gonna go by a little quicker than I thought. I don't know if enough people are here to actually take the boss down, though. Alright. Can't switch my talents, unfortunately, but, you know. And there's a few players in here to get some HKs. So. Alright, let's deal some damages. I know my numbers are little. Don't hate. Gear's not up to date. Oh no. I don't know if that actually does anything. I used to think running away would help, but our healers are doing a decent job. And that's that. Well, I guess that was nice and fast. I am nervous to actually see my numbers. I don't think my damage was that high because I wasn't in combat very much, but I got a decent amount of honorable kills. Got top killing blows, so I guess that's cool. Didn't die. Alright, well, I guess that'll wrap it up for this one. Thanks for watching, guys.